Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Monday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy, back for another hopefully entertaining and informative evening of my new digital media platform show, the Real Chat Daddy Show. If you haven't guessed that by now, you know what to do to hang out. Just relax. We have a lot to talk about tonight. I have a wonderful guest co-host who will be joining us. And June is actually Pride Awareness Month. It's Gay Pride Awareness Month. So tonight we have a wonderful guest that's joining us. She's the author of a best-selling book, Pretty Boy Blue, and she'll be joining us tonight. She is Monica M. Pickens, a former Chicagoan, also a military veteran, a most sought after LGBTQA speaker. And so tonight she'll be here to talk about her life story, her new book, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful Father's Day weekend and you got out and enjoyed yourselves with your families. It was really good to see all the pictures of the dads and granddads and brothers and everything on Facebook yesterday. It really is heartwarming to see Black families in such a beautiful way. And so you guys did an outstanding job on Facebook yesterday, paying homage to Pop, Big Dad, Little Daddy, whatever y'all call him. You guys did a great job yesterday. All right, so let me bring our co-host in. He's a gentleman that's been here with us before. He is a dear friend of mine. He is Dr. Philip Montgomery, a noted mental health expert, and he's going to be here tonight so we could talk about quite a few different things. Good evening, Dr. Philip. How are you?
I am doing well. Good evening, and how are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. It's Monday. I'm back doing what I love to do and talking to this amazing audience of mine and, do what it is that I do right here. I've had an added update to the studio. If you guys now notice, Chat Daddy is in green light. There's light behind the Chat Daddy shrine. So, yes, there's green light, and sometimes the light will change. Let me see if I can make it change. So yes, look at there. So throughout the show, the light will be changing and all of that. Yes, absolutely. So Philip, how you been? And then give everybody a lowdown on the latest things with you.
Good. I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here with you and your guests and your family tonight. And I've been looking forward to it all week. Going on with me, there's a lot. I'm finishing up some things with school. It's almost time for my school year to begin at Roosevelt, where I teach. The job is going well. I've got some really good work that I'm looking forward to in the fall that I'll be participating in some things. I can say things in my life are progressing nicely. I'm really having a good time. I think I have found my space and I'm enjoying it.
Well, you and I always talk about the fact that we really do believe that COVID has allowed certain people to, it has allowed people to pivot, rediscover themselves, do things much differently than we've ever been able to do before. And I tell people, I don't know, I enjoy the change that I've had, and it's actually been beneficial to my overall health and well-being.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, but this is the time to really start looking at your life. I was forced, because I'm at home, to take a look at the things that I was doing, the choices that I was making. And I decided myself, I said, okay, this is the time, Philip, go ahead. What do you really want to do? What do you need to do it? Start to do some more independent research on things that will make you happy. This is our time. And I believe for people like you, for people like me, for people in our age group, I think that we're getting a chance to see that. I don't want to say it's now or never, but we need to put our foot down on that pedal and start to get the car rolling.
I agree 100%. It is what we need to do in life and just kind of move it along, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I do have a correction. Our guest is Monica M. Pickens. I made a mistake and thought it was another name, but it's Monica. So forgive me, you guys. Yeah, Monica. It's spelled differently. So I never mind, but it's Monica. So yes. All right. So Philip, you actually going to help us tonight with it, June being Pride Month.
Yes.
And a lot of times in the Black community, we have a lot of phobias and fears and things like that. How do we best get into this conversation? Because people really do know their thoughts and feelings about their sexuality at every aspect of their life, correct?
They do. I think in our community, in the Black community, it's the cultural challenges that really make it difficult, because there's fear, which is a big part of it, the fear of the unknown. There's also kind of, I think for us, we see it as losing someone, which is really unfortunate. You find out the person chooses an alternative lifestyle, and it may not be yours, it may not be something you understand, but we really should do what we ask our children to do, and that's learn a little bit more about it, talk about it.
Right.
If you have a loved one that shares that space of their life with you, and feels that love and they're comfortable with you, you really have to look at that as a privilege, because most people don't have to tell you about anything about themselves.
True.
And if somebody shares these facts about their home, their lives, you need to look it up. If you don't understand what it is, don't judge, because not one of us could withstand being judged. So don't judge, just read about it, learn about it, and listen. There's so many people in our community struggling to make it through this life. And when you're trying to carry something that society has told you should be a secret, it's not the best thing for people to know about you. Try to hide it as best you can. That from a child, that's got to be difficult, because I believe in children that I've worked with, that they start to know that there's something different about them if from their earliest recollection.
Okay.
Whether
later on in the show, let's hold tight and come back, and we can do that whole layout of how that's all going to work. And I agree with you on that 100%. All right. So over the weekend, Chicago had a crime situation that was a little bit more than necessary for it to be a Father's Day weekend. 104 people were shot, 14 were fatal. 2 women were killed on the south side of Chicago today around 2:30 this afternoon. Philip, this crime thing here in Chicago is not getting any better. We're always hearing about shootings on the expressway. We're always being cautious and worried. I don't know. We have a new police superintendent. He's brand new on the job. Some people are saying that at least when Eddie Johnson was in office, the numbers were dropping on the number of crime cases we had, which I don't know if that's true or not. I look at it like this. The new man is brand new on the job. And then I think a lot of this is parenting that is out of hand as well, too.
You've got so many things at play right now. We've got a pandemic. You've got people who've been underemployed and unemployed for 3 months, a minimum of 3 months. You've got people where their careers are gone, and they may never be able to go back to the way of life that they had. And I do think there's a struggle for the street, if you will. Resources are fewer and fewer, and that goes in the drug selling community as well. Mm-hmm. So you've got these gangs, you've got drugs, you've got poverty, you've got struggles with mental illness, you've got a lack of hope, and you've got homelessness. There's so many things going on there that this new superintendent stepped into a big pile of doo-doo. And he is doing the best he can to hose off his shoes and our shoes too. I think that unfortunately, what was so sad this weekend, not that the 61 shootings wasn't sad enough, but a 3-year-old who was probably just riding with his father.
It was 104 shot.
104 shot.
Yes, and 14 fatalities, and now it's 16 fatalities as of today with the 2 ladies
And it's like you say to yourself, where have we lost the center, and what do we need to do to get back to it? I had hoped that more people, because of the age of the young man, the little boy who was killed, I'd hoped more people would step up and realize that this can't continue. I mean, we're losing generations. Either they're going to be incarcerated, they're not going to be eligible to be. They're not going to be employable, and now we're killing people at 3 and 4 years of age riding in a car when you're trying to kill somebody's father on Father's Day. It's a We're in a space where there's going to take a lot of prayer, but I also think we do need to look at resources in our communities. We definitely need to get back to more of the behavioral health options for people. And I'm not just talking about medication, because I don't think people just need medication. I think you need a combination. There needs to be a space where some of these men, just like the police officers, some of the gentlemen that are on the street, need a space where they can go talk about what they've been struggling with, not for just a couple of days, but many of them have been struggling with it for a lifetime.
Well,
and go ahead, sir.
You're absolutely right about what you're saying, because what a lot of people need to realize is that the average person that becomes a law enforcement officer is solely because they want that job that pays that great money, and they be able to, watch over the community. They feel like they would be able to try to correct some of the ills that have gone on in the communities in which they were raised in. I mean, most of the people that I know that became police officers, that was that one good job, much like working for City Hall or, a long-term great job. But I can only imagine a lot of them probably come from the same circumstances they see on the streets.
Most definitely. And a lot of them, and I mean, I'm going to go on and say it, a lot of them, the options, there weren't many options. The parents probably told them, okay, you can go to the service, you should become a police officer, but you're not going to go out there on the street. So they picked one. And I believe that job, being a police officer, there's nothing like it in the world. The things they see, the stories they hear, none of us would ever know what it's like to do that for 40 hours a week, for a whole career. And I think it's not that you become jaded. I just think the pain that you have internalized and you've had no place to deposit it for a whole career, it manifests itself sometimes in some of these beatings that we're seeing. Sometimes when you look at some of these tapes, you're seeing a level of anger that can't be just from that one situation. It's got to be something that's pent up from home, from missing things from home, from working all this overtime and not really being able to enjoy themselves. And I think it also, as a police officer, you struggle because you don't see you may not see good in people because you've been seeing the bad for so long.
And that's what I said too. I said, imagine every time you go to a call, it's not, oh my God, can you get my kitty cat out the tree? Or oh my goodness, can you just help me? I dropped something. It's usually some shenanigans, some foolery, something that has just, would be vexing on the spirit just to see somebody has been shot or stabbed or, walk in and somebody's dead. I can only imagine what that would be like. So you're right about that. That I do applaud all of our police officers
over and over again.
Yeah, but again, when you and I were coming up, that was that job you got because it was great benefits, and your uncle did it, your granddaddy did it, and
everybody did it, and everybody preached about it. You didn't have to work but 20 or 22 years. When you got to a certain age, you'd be at a desk. Shortly after you went to that desk, you'd start racking you up some cash, and then you would retire. And that was how it was looked at. And a lot of our colleagues, and I mean colleagues in our age group and peers, a lot of them became police officers because they were some of the bad kids on the street, and unfortunately, they would have been the ones where they would have been willing to take that gun and shoot. It's a calling to be a police officer. You really have to be called into the profession to do it well. It is there's a level of everyday empathy and compassion that you have to come to work with that's unlike most other fields that I can think of.
Right. You're absolutely right. Okay. All right. Well, listen, Chicago, We want you guys to do what you can to be safe. I
Yes.
don't know why all this violence is so important. We've just gone through looting and rioting in our city. A lot of our neighborhoods are still not back where they should be. We're still missing a lot of vital services. This crime thing is just horrendous. And I hope that there's something we can do that maybe, and we keep saying we're gonna band together, we're gonna make a difference. Every time I see Andrew Holmes on TV, I say, my
Oh,
this man is forever begging and pleading for people to stop, being crazy and stop killing each other and stop, doing all this. And he has to do this on Father's Day. And he's
and he
even lost
doesn't
family
and he doesn't give up. I mean,
members.
this is a man where when you talk about the eternal flame of hope, this
Right.
man comes out no matter what. And given what he's been through personally, and he can still show up at these scenes crying with the mothers and fathers, crying for the mothers and fathers and those that are lost. That's an amazing person there also.
It is. It really, really is. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on. Another thing we want to address real quick is what's up with all the dang on fireworks that are going off, not only in Chicago, but in other major cities across the country. I've read several articles where I guess in Brooklyn, New York, they're having an excessive problem with the fireworks thing. But brother, it's been so bad in Chicago, and especially over where I live at, that really I felt as if I was in Beirut, Lebanon for the last 4 or 5 nights. That's how much bombs and just stuff going off.
I think I'm going to put this in your head, and you have to look at it this way. It's strange because, like you said, I noticed it, and it was so bad Friday night and Saturday that I felt like calling the police because it was just getting to the point where it just sounded like it was a rapid fire thing going on.
Oh,
But I
Phyllis
think,
thinks that in LA as well too. She says it's horrible out there too.
yeah,
Go ahead.
but I think a lot of it is this is another manifestation of. I just think people are just at the end, and things that normally they would not do, they're doing. And I think these fireworks are just something that's a way for, I hate to say express themselves, but express their feelings. I think you've got a lot of people in our urban areas and suburban areas who are dealing with a lot of pressure. Again, no jobs, a pandemic, being locked in your house with your family, which sometimes may not be the best thing, hopelessness, and these fireworks are just disturbing people, and the people who are doing it know it. It's kind of a way of getting back out there in society when you can't do anything else, just disturb the peace. You take something where Juneteenth was being celebrated, Father's Day was coming up, and the way that you do it is you make so much noise. Like you said, it sounds like you're in a war zone at night around your own house.
Brother, when it starts raining in the evening, I'm like, thank you, Lord.
Oh
Thank you.
yeah. Oh
Because
yeah.
hopefully, like now it's raining here in Chicago. I'm just praying, like, okay, no fireworks tonight. Because, if you're really not sure if it's gunshots, fireworks, you just don't know. And I have friends who are telling me that, like, their dogs are on tranquilizers
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
because of the anxiety of all these fireworks.
I've got a cat, and when it started, what was that Saturday night? The cat turned its head into the pillow on the couch and stayed there the whole night till it stopped. The animals. I mean, I do love animals, but the animals signal what's going on first. They're disturbed, so we're disturbed. I mean, I'm looking and I'm listening, and I'm trying to say to myself, what is out here that you would be out all night long? But you got to remember, people have been cooped up for 3 months. They have not been able to get out and do the normal stuff that they used to do, whatever we want to call normal.
Mhm.
And everything is just starting to open up. It's just like Christmas. So
Right.
you've got all these packages, meaning all these cities opening up. And you've got all these people who want to get out there and play with their new toy, which is being out on the street. I think we've got a few weeks coming of people needing to be reacclimated now that the cities are starting to open back up again.
Well, what a great segue, my friend, because that helps me to move on to our next topic. Governor J.B. Pritzker released Phase 4 guidelines for the state of Illinois as of today. Before we go through what the new things will be and the guidelines and all of that, I need to let you guys know the latest COVID-19 numbers for the state of Illinois. 462 new cases of COVID-19 with an additional 26 deaths as of this afternoon. Today, Monday. According to the Illinois Department of Public Health, the state now has a total of 137,224 novel coronavirus cases, and that which has also added the fatality number to be 6,671 people have died in the state of Illinois from the coronavirus. And so that's the latest update on that. But the good news is that the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago will be moving into Phase 4 as of this coming Friday. And Philip, the things that we'll be able to find in Phase 4 will be meeting and venue spaces can resume with less than 50 people or a overall 50% occupancy of the room. So whichever works, 50 people, or if it's a smaller room and the room is full, it can only be at 50% occupancy. Multiple groups are permitted, given facilities have space for appropriate social distancing and can limit interactions between guests and groups. This includes conferences and weddings. So I guess venues that do weddings and parties and things like that, they can probably have, 50 people in one room and 50 people in another room. Now, my phobia and fear is everybody uses the same damn bathroom.
That's one of the fears, definitely. You won't drink too much water at some of these events. I think the first few weeks, again, and I applaud the leadership of this state. The governor is, for a man who was not a lifelong politician, he's again another person who stepped in a big pile of doo-doo. He has come in and he's been truly wading through the waters. It's time, because I think people need hope. And I think that's, again, what, from my professional opinion, that's what we're really struggling with. This hopelessness is what really is driving people to places where they've never been before. And the anxiety of being cooped up with your head. Cooped up with your own thoughts. But my concern is, will people practice social distancing? And will they wear a mask? And will they understand that no matter what the president suggests for his reelection campaign, that social distancing and masks, as far as we know, they work. And right now, since we don't have a vaccine, I don't want to hear, I like the numbers are going down. I want them to continue to go down. And my concern is, with us reopening and getting to stage 4, I just hope people will continue to practice those things that have been set forth by the governor and the mayor of the city to help keep everybody safe and save lives.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. Yesterday afternoon, I was in Northwest Indiana, over in the Hammond-Whiting area of Indiana. And it was just frightening, the number of people who did not have any type of mask on. I guess Indiana does not require people to wear masks. Most of the places that I went into had signs saying, could you please wear your mask in here? And we did. But most of the people were walking around, no mask on, very little social distancing. I got everything that I needed to get and wanted to get, but I got the hell out of Northwest Indiana right away. Right. So I don't know how people are looking at that at all,
Well, I live basically up the street from that area.
Right.
And I can imagine, because, again, Indiana is wide open. And you've got so many people from the Chicago area who do a lot of their shopping in that area for various reasons. And Free parking, convenience, stores staying open late.
Free bags.
Right. Oh, forgot about that.
Taxes cheaper.
Taxes
right.
cheaper. So,
liquor is cheaper.
Liquor's cheaper, and God knows people are buying a lot of that now. I think you're going to see, unfortunately, a lot of people going and bringing things back that might not always be groceries. So it's got to be something again that we really, as a people, we have to be mindful of our surroundings, and don't get complacent and think that this is resolved. It is not.
Right.
It is just something that, between the amazing medical professionals that we have out there, they have given us some tools to manage it, but they have not given a tool that will cure it. And until that comes up, if you see it's too many people without a mask, I would strongly suggest making sure you can be at least 6 feet away from that population and you have a mask on. If not, I would probably retreat and do my shopping elsewhere.
Okay. With that being said, other things that you'll be able to do in the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago after this coming Friday is indoor and outdoor indoor recreational operations, of course, no more than 50 people or 50% of the occupancy would be allowed of that. Social distancing, as well as no mixing of groups and people in that circumstance. Indoor dining will return back this coming Friday for groups of 10 or less, with tables being spaced at least 6 feet apart from each other, and then standing with no more than 25% of the occupancy. So I guess in the bar area, right, or whatever the case may be, it can only be a few people. Health and fitness centers will be back open with only 50% of their capacity allowed. New safety guidelines include cleaning, sanitizing, wiping between people. A lot of personal trainers have already been back training people. If they have studios and spaces like that, they've been able to be up and running. Another thing, parents will be excited to know that day camps will be in effect as of this coming weekend. Water-based activities, according to the guidelines, will be accepted. No more than 50% of the people would be able to be at whatever the camp is, and the groups can be no more than 15 young people at a time, or 15 people, period. Wow. The counselors and the kids at one time. Museums will be opening back up as of this coming Friday, and a lot of you all will be able to go visit some of your people at the zoo. The zoos will be opening back up. No disrespect, y'all. But the zoos are requiring reservations, and they will not be at 50. They will only be at, like 50% occupancy. And you've got to make a reservation even to go to the free zoo, which is Lincoln Park Zoo.
So if you want to go see a turtle, you need to make a reservation before you can go. All right.
Yeah. If you want to go see your cousin Tudor Turtle, you have got to go and tell Tudor Turtle, hey, Tudor. Right. Tudor on prison lockdown.
That's okay.
Right.
That's okay. That's okay.
So yes, you have to make a reservation to go to the zoo. You just cannot walk up in the zoo all willy-nilly now. No, that's not. No. Yes, that's not going to happen. All right. For those of you all that are just joining us, welcome to the Monday night edition of the Real Chat Daddy Show. I am your host, Chat Daddy. So glad that you guys are here tonight. We have another wonderful show for your viewing and listening pleasure. I don't know if you guys know it or not. June is actually Gay Pride Month, and tonight we're dedicating this entire week we're dedicating it to Pride. And so tonight we have a wonderful author that's going to be joining us to talk to us about her best-selling book, and she's also going to share her amazing journey as a Black gay woman in today's society. I'm looking forward to that story. Yes. My co-host tonight is Dr. Philip Montgomery, mental health expert. He's here tonight to help me make my way to 8:30 on this show and make sure we talk about overall mental health and just staying as physically sharp, mentally sharp, as well as physically sharp as we can. Philip, you
Yes,
okay so far?
I'm great.
Good. So comedian, well, he's an actor as well too. DL Hughley
Oh,
passed out on stage this past weekend. It was videotaped, and he was at a fundraiser event.
mhm.
And come to find out, he thought he was just tired and dehydrated, and he tested positive for COVID-19. So now I'm worried about all of those people that were at the event, all of the people that handled him from
The man,
his team,
the man
you
that
know,
caught him,
the man that caught him, everything.
right?
So, I mean, what do you think about all this?
Well, I think that's why here we go again with the contact tracing, the social distancing. You know, we don't know what we don't know. And when he came and got on stage, nobody knew. So by the time the show was over, everybody knew. So you're looking up and you came out and you thought you were in a situation where that was your least of your concerns. And now you find out that you have to be aware. You probably need to self quarantine for a moment. And then just the look on his face, because you could tell he didn't know.
No,
And probably innocently working along, doing his day to day thing. He could have come in contact with that at any time. I mean, because he is a comedian, he is out there speaking. He does a lot of public appearances and personal things. So these things happen. But all I can see on that video is when he fell and that man had to catch him. And that gentleman was over his face. So
yeah,
that's very concerning. And you never know about who was close in the audience when he was telling that gut busting joke, and he laughed and they laughed too.
right.
It's a very, very different world out there right now.
Well, Philip, he said that he had no symptoms. And, most of the symptoms that are associated with having COVID-19 would be high fever, coughing, difficult breathing,
Right.
no taste and no smell. And he said he, didn't have any of
Right.
that. That he just thought he was, dehydrated and exhausted, which, I can get that when you're a celebrity and you're on the go and moving all the time. So I don't know. I just, feel so
You
bad
you
for him. I don't know what to do.
we could get that at any time. If you cleaning up around the house doing a whole lot of stuff, you might be out of breath, and if you didn't drink enough water, you might be tired and need to sit down for a minute. Again, we don't know what we don't know, and we don't know a lot about this thing. And that's again why I go back to the leadership of the state over the leadership of the country, trying to keep us focused on the fact that we are still in harm's way. We have
Hmm.
just found a little bit of a shield, but we're still in the way.
Yes, yes. Okay, very good. All right, we have two other things that we really need to talk about, and then we'll go on to our hot topics for the evening. About a week or so ago, I was introduced to a young man by the name of Bubba Wallace, and I was like, wait a minute. I
Yeah,
had never heard of Bubba Wallace, and
yeah,
Bubba Wallace was very easy on the eyes and, charming. And I said, well, now, wait a minute. Bubba Wallace, black race car driver.
yeah,
I'm all like, well, I guess I'm gonna go to the races. And then, Bubba Wallace announced, he's gonna have a car that says Black Lives Matter, and
yeah.
everybody's kumbaya and embracing him in the NASCAR and all of that. Well, that's a hot ass mess lie.
Yes.
Bubba Wallace over the weekend ended up with a noose found in his garage stall
Mm,
of his NASCAR where he puts the car at. And I was told that, no fans would be able to get
no.
back there or any of that. So it would have to have been an inside job. And then how dare you put a damn noose in the man's, garage?
Not only did it have to be, I mean, and that's one of the few sports where the real, even though they value the driver, the car is incredibly important. So there's a lot of security around that vehicle.
Right.
And wherever he had it parked, I bet they already know who did it. They just need to tie up some loose ends before you find out who it is. But you got to remember, this is a sport that was not one that was would be culturally accepting. Um, he was in it and he was doing well, and then he was able to get the ear of some very important other NASCAR drivers who supported the fact that it is time for a change in the way people are treated.
Hmm.
Um, he was speaking his mind. And see, you got to remember, just like all the other athletes, for a long time, the way they had us was the money. And we wouldn't say anything because we didn't want to jeopardize the earning potential. But now that we can see that if we don't speak up, those of us who are really successful and in a position where our voices can be heard, there's never going to be a change. People like Bubba can say things that I can't say and you can't say, but he can say it. And that brings fear to a certain group of people. And fear will make you do some weird things. And that's just like they said when they banned the Confederate flag in the racetrack, they saw more of them than they have ever seen outside of the racing track.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
a woman was on the news, and I was fascinated. I was at work, but the news was on, and the woman said, basically, she tried to glorify what the Confederate flag meant, and it was just like she was hearkening back to the good old days. And I mean, you could look at her face and tell that she didn't understand what was the problem. And until there's some sort of a universal enlightenment, and I think that's where we're headed. I think finally you've got black people saying, and I know it's black and brown, but I'm in this instance I'm going to say you got black people saying,
Right.
please, please take your entire body off my neck. You know,
Yes.
I am working hard. I drive this car. I learned to drive this car. Every time I get in this car, I risk killing myself while driving, and that's not enough for you. You know, you want me and my brethren to be held back from opportunities like this. If we don't have access to opportunity, nothing's going to change. And I like how these gentlemen, these young gentlemen, are stepping up and making sure that their voices are being heard. And I am starting to notice some movement, and that's great.
Good. That's what we were talking about, that we're very proud of him. So today, the NASCAR Cup Series stood behind him. They spray
Yes.
painted a stencil on the grass at NASCAR saying hashtag I stand with Bubba. And so that's the latest hot new hashtag that everybody is
Good,
using.
good.
And this was at the Talladega Speedway. A federal investigation is being launched after the noose was found in his garage, which, I can see as well, too. Real quick before we get on to our other topic tonight, let's talk about our friends in Tulsa, Oklahoma. As you guys all know, this past Friday was a beautiful celebration of Juneteenth. Juneteenth was celebrated this year much larger than it's ever been celebrated before. Congratulations to the over 70 Black-owned restaurants and businesses in the Chicagoland area, eateries that offered amazing deals either Friday or throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of these places had lines down the block of people wanting to spend their money with a Black business, getting food and, products and things. And so thank you guys so very much. But then on Saturday, our president, number 45, had his first campaign rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma. There were protesters there, but then there were tons of supporters. As he said, what he said, 1 million of them was supposed to have been there.
Oh yeah, he said it was a million. They got 1 million reservations. That's what he
And
said.
then I end up finding out about Black Voices for Trump. I never even knew
Oh
of
yeah.
such thing
Oh
until
my
I
God.
saw it. And then the number of people on his staff, as well as 2 Secret Service agents
Oh yeah.
that tested positive for COVID. And then found out today that 2 more of his staff members that were working on the event have now tested positive for COVID. And he jokingly said, I told him to slow the testing
Oh
down.
yes. Oh, yes. Well, the thing about him that's fascinating and is there's something he's confused. I still think he feels that this is The Apprentice. And he's not realizing that these are real people that he's screwing with. And when you think of the fact that he had all those people going out to scout for him, and they were doing their jobs, and that's 6 people that are struggling with this, even if they don't have any symptoms, just the mental struggle is of not knowing what to expect and how it's going to manifest itself and play out. Then you've got the other people who they didn't find out till after the event was over, and they were at the event and they've been diagnosed with it also. It's amazing. And if you looked at him, he was so upset because he didn't pack the house the way he thought he was going to. I don't know if he's really our president. I think he's his own president, but I don't think he cares too much about even the people that are part of his base, because many of them would fall into that age group that would least likely fare well if they come down with this. And I just struggle with the fact that this man is supposed to be preserving the rights for all people, looking out for the best interests of the country. And I'm wondering if he even knows what that is.
All of this is really a very, crazy moment. If you really think about the world in which we live in right now, and the fact that, again, we started the year off with losing Kobe Bryant, something just we never in a million years thought we would have heard that story.
I'm telling you.
And a lot of us are still very much traumatized from that. Then we move into what was next after that? We moved into this pandemic. And then, we move into George Floyd and the other unnecessary murders. And now here we are. It's summertime. People want to really enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
They want to get out and do what they need to do. But we are still dealing with a global pandemic that is shutting places down around the country. Florida is now getting ready to be considered a new epicenter. You get what I'm saying? In Beijing, China, they've closed schools down yet again. So, I feel as if we are playing with fire in this particular situation.
I don't think you feel like it. I think we are. And when you go back to Kobe Bryant, I think, for many of us, that was a shock that, you just felt like, I don't think anything else could shock me after that. But then when this pandemic came along and everything that goes along with it, and I always I want to remind people that there's so many people who are unemployed now, and so many of those jobs will not be coming back. When you listen to the concept of retail, so many of these mainline retail stores have already announced that they will be closing physical locations and going more to an internet base for selling. What happens to all those people who have been working in some of those great stores and earning wonderful commissions to pay for their homes and support their families? When you look at the lines at these food banks, and they don't have nearly enough food. When you hear these people on the news talking about, I'm trying to pay my rent and my landlord doesn't understand. No, he doesn't understand. But his struggle is he can't pay the mortgage either. So it's such a lot of, again, I go back to hopelessness with so many people, and this depressed feeling that each one of us has about some part of our lives, that, again, this opening up is what people need, I think, just to try to find a glimmer of hope. But we better know how to manage it, because we are not out of the fire.
No, we're not. We're not. All right. Well, all I know is you guys, please stay safe, do the right things, wear your mask. I whether they work or not. Look, y'all, I have a hard time keeping up with mine as well, too. And then, I'm like John Witherspoon. I got to be color coordinated. They got to match my outfit. All of that.
That's good.
All
Just
of that.
Keep it on, though. That's
right,
good.
Right. And yesterday it was so funny. I took my mask off, went in someplace, and again out there in Indiana. But wait. I felt so bad. I started screaming in the middle of the store, put my shirt over my face, ran out the store just to go get the mask.
Good.
And the chick outside was laughing. She said, "Mister, it's so many people in here without a mask." I said, "Miss, I feel bad." And I ran and went and got my mask and put it back on. And then just real quick before we get to our next topic, Philip, I went into a big box retail store yesterday. Well, you know, a clothing store.
Okay.
And when I walked in, I looked around and I said to my friend, I said, "Listen," I said, "did they loot this store?" I said, "because there's nothing in this store." And the young lady said, "Oh no, we didn't get looted. We just, you know, trying to get rid of this inventory, and we waiting on new inventory to come in." And I'm thinking to myself, "Sweetheart, this look like y'all getting ready to close this location." You get what I'm saying? There was nothing in that store, nothing, to the point that really I don't even know why you opened it.
Well, I've heard that a lot of these stores are really light on inventory, especially when it comes to things like clothes and housewares. Because again, if you've got all this unemployment, how are people going out of the house to go to work? So if you notice, a lot of the major stores have been carrying some amazing sales for the last month or so. Some things, some places almost 75% off. So like you said, if you ask me, that sounds like they're trying to get rid of that inventory. But I want to see what they bring in. And I hope that they bring in something, because people need those jobs, and we do need to go buy stuff so we can wear it, even if it's around the house.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And a lot of y'all done got that gut and that tummy. And you need them roomier tops and all that. You know, y'all been doing a little extra, right? Y'all been doing some extra. Y'all been getting them nibbles and kibbles and nibbles and bits on. So
remember, the refrigerator is closer when you're working from the dining room table or the kitchen table. The refrigerator is right over the wall. So you know, can always jump.
Signs you can put on your refrigerator now that says refrigerator out of service, refrigerator officially closed, all of that. So I don't know. We'll have to figure all that out. All right. So, Philip Montgomery is our co-host this evening. He's a mental health expert, Dr. Philip Montgomery. And so before we welcome our special guest, who will be with us here at the top of the hour, June is Gay Pride Month. And so this entire week, we're going to have different conversations about acceptance, love, how to deal with family members who might be LGBTQA. It's growing, it's steady growing, but I'm learning it, and we'll break all of that down later on tonight. And so Philip and I are going to talk about the various stages that people go through when it comes to their sexuality and identifying their gender, their role, their preference, all of that. And so earlier on, Philip, you had made a comment that even in young childhood, well, I guess because young children do play an experiment with each other.
Well, they play an experiment, and I think also they watch. You watch your cousins, and you watch your friends, and you watch your playmates. And I would say that I've heard, and I'm sure you have too, that from a very young age, people know when there's something different. You know, they might not be able to put their finger on it, but I think young children do realize that there's something about them that's not quite like the other children. Now, they don't really harp on it or focus on it because there's really no reason to. But I think as they get older, and as they begin to ask, they have their own questions in their own language, which is appropriate for their age. They start to ask questions. And then I think also in the families, it depends on how these questions are responded to. One of the big things I say in this world that we live in is parents need to be more open and receptive to all types of conversations now, and not to say what won't happen, but to try to be better prepared for what may happen. So when the kids begin to ask questions about their body parts, or they start talking about boys, when you hear boys start excessively talking about boys, you need to kind of engage in the conversation, kind of see if you can get some direction, see where they're going. Make sure that you keep the conversation open. Make sure that the child doesn't feel stigmatized. You know, you don't want the kid to feel at an early age that he can't or she can't come to you with her concerns or what she's feeling or what he's feeling. Because if they can't come to you, to get the best information, they may seek it out elsewhere.
Right.
And that's why as children grow older, good parenting, good relationships, you have to really be listening and be a resource. If you don't know where to go, the computer is a good place to start. If the children bring up a topic that you're not familiar with, help them out. Say, well, let's find something that talks about youth, getting to know their bodies, getting to understand what it means to like people that look like them. What does it mean that you don't necessarily feel that you're in the right body? What does that mean? Find a way to explain on that child or that person's level, so that they can understand and it can help them to develop, so that they will not be held back by things that they don't understand and you were too uncomfortable to explain. And what you'll notice is, especially, and I'm going to just touch a little bit on the African American community, what you'll notice is a lot of it is hidden. And unfortunately, through early childhood, when these questions should be addressed, the child is forced at times to deny their identity and not get to know who they are. And they get misleading and poor information. As they get older and they try to explain and explore, again, their environment is trying to help them to suppress it. And what we have to do is help these young people learn how to share and discuss and to plan for a future. So if I don't know about it and I have a son that's coming to me and saying some things and I have questions myself, if I love my child, and I'm sure I do, I want to make sure that we both get the best information that we can.
Right.
Ask the counselor.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Ask the counselor at school. They're very well prepared for this type of thing because it's happening more and more. What resources do you have? They may refer you to a center, someplace where in the community that you can go and you can introduce them to a new doctor, a new pediatrician, where you can get some answers yourself. I think that as children, as we move from that early age into that youth part, and that's where I'll say maybe from about 9 to about 15, 16, where their peers have a lot of influence over the things they're doing. You definitely have to make sure that we're getting them some good information so that they're not confused. They're not acting out and doing things based on ignorance. We want them to know and be armed so that they can make wise decisions. Even for young people, we want them to make the best decisions. And if they don't know, we want them to be able to come to us as a parent and be able to discuss it. And we want to help them make better decisions.
Good. One of our viewers said, so much sexual exposure. Are kids more likely influenced at early ages by alternative lifestyles? And Phyllis, I love that question. Philip, I tell you all the time that the one thing I love about me, the person, is I love talking to people and trying to figure out where they're from, where they want to go, what do you want to do next? And what I've found is especially in our community, being gay is one thing, but the number of young Black men and women who now want to be transgender is interesting to me. I know when I was coming up, it wasn't that we didn't have transgender friends or people around us, but I know now more than ever, so many young men do not want to be young men anymore.
No.
It's not enough just to be a gay young man. They now want to be a female. And I've even said to many of them, like, why? And they said to me, women are treated so much better. Guys, are quick to cater and do, and guys desire transsexual. Unfortunately, we had an 18-year-old high school senior just murder a trans female here in Chicago just a couple of days ago. And so I'm a little, even I am a little miffed on, is masculinity even not accepted in the gay world, or the male machismo, I guess you would say, is not there anymore?
Well, there's it's a sad component because, of course, these young people, a lot of them, when these choices come up, again, because there hasn't been this line of communication, some of the choices they make as far as helping them to make this journey, they're not the best choices. But unfortunately, what I'm finding is a lot of what you said is the case. A lot of black males see black females as being more accepted, but that's not the reason for that change. There, it is more acceptable socially. People are talking about it more. When we were growing up, you didn't have 10, 15, 20 television shows that would explore the same topic and show men how to dress better as a woman and show men how to look better as a woman or show a woman how to dress more like a man. So I think that a lot of it's just the change in our social, the way that we communicate and what's out there for the kids to see. So they're identifying with the person that they think they want to be or who they feel they are. And again, since it's that individual, we cannot say that this is not the way they feel. We just need to be able to support them and find a path, a healthy path for them to travel on and make it through this journey of their lives, because that is a very difficult road when a young person decides that the sex that they were born is not the one that they would prefer to be in, and they would like to start the process to make that change, because you've got not just what's going with that person, it's that whole relationship with their society that's going to be challenging. The people that they call their loved ones, how will they be received? How will you educate those people that are giving you a lot of pushback, are challenging you? The people that you love most, who will tell you they don't understand and may tell you they don't want to have anything to do with you. When you are a young transgender youth and you are trying to find a way to live and find a way to be happy, there's so many people that can't find that at home. And that's the unfortunate part. And where they wind up, if they don't find a great support system where they choose to go next, some horrible things can happen, because not everybody out there will have their best interest at heart.
Which is true. Now, what about for older people who, I know quite a few people that have gotten to be a certain age and like, oh, I now think I want to do something different, or, Millie and I a little bit more than just best buds, or,
well, I would say that the older person, and let's move them up with a little bit over 30. Let's go 30 to maybe 55. I think that person has always known. I think that convention has prevented them from acting upon it. And the fact that they felt that it just wasn't the right time. And here we go again, that word, fear, because you are really exposing yourself to a lot of stuff that you may not even be aware that's going to come your way. Because of course you don't know who in your family is going to say, hey, good, glad to see that. And who's going to act like they never want to see you again. And those relationships, in a way, you have to be prepared for them to change. And for many people in that middle age group, the status quo is the way they live. They've developed a life that they're very happy with. They like who they are. They like the lifestyle they have. It's just this one thing that they would love to be able to incorporate into the rest of this world, but they know that for so many, it just wouldn't be accepted. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's always the case. I think that all of the parties have to be open to wanting to learn more about each other. I think the people who are ready to, the people who are ready to, as it were, come out, have to understand that they are going to have to probably explain and re-explain and talk about it a few more times than they want to. But the people who are the ones that love them, who don't understand what's happening, need to be opening to listening and sharing and learning and going with them to places and talking with them and meeting their friends and making it so that it seems just as seamless as it did before. It's just another person that you love in your life that you're spending time with.
I like it. I do. I think it makes great sense. I do. I think love is love. I think we've got to be at a point of acceptance, and we've got to, embrace each other, as long as I feel like this, as long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're not causing detriment to my health and yours, then love is love. Let's make it be what it needs to be.
And look at the world right now. And again, as we started this conversation, the world is trying to, it's like from The Color Purple. God is trying to tell us something.
Right.
And it's time for us to stop, to start leading more with our heart and stop trying to make people fit in a box. People don't. If I'm Black and you're white, we should learn about each other. It should not be something where we are at odds over simple things that one group would hold another group down and prevent them from achieving greatness. I mean, so many things that we do could have been done we could have reached even higher heights if people had just brought us on board as a partner and not just tried to push us back because they didn't understand us because of the color of our skin.
Yeah. Everything that we do right now is in turmoil, and I'm hoping that in my lifetime some of this stuff will soothe itself and become better, and that may not be for me to see, maybe for, as they said, my children's children to see, but I just hope in my lifetime we start seeing more acceptance and more people just accepting people for who they are.
Well, Chad, I think you are seeing it. I think when you're looking at the gentleman from NASCAR, you're looking at all of these athletes who are saying it in ways that you never heard it before. You've got African Americans and Black people who are now even getting into the nuances of skin color and acceptance. When you start hearing that conversation, that's when people are really ready to see a change.
Very good. All right. Coming up next, we have a guest that's joining us in a few minutes. Let me see. What else is going on, Philip?
Well, we were talking about basically the struggles with people coming out, as it were, and the one group I really want to talk about, because this is a group that I think really needs the most understanding, is our seniors, our older people that as they get older and they are either coming out or they've been out, we really need to reach back for them, because a lot of them have health concerns. A lot of them are lonely. A lot of them are living in fear, limited resources, and they're struggling even more because they may feel that this added thing of being gay will make them even more socially unacceptable. So I think that for a lot of us, I hope that we are embracing our seniors and we're remembering to hold them close, no matter who they are, tall or short, but making sure that they know that we are there for them.
All right. Well, coming up on tomorrow night's show, it's the Wednesday night show. We're gonna have a No, tomorrow's Tuesday. I'm rushing the week on and just trying to. Right, my bad, y'all. Tomorrow is Tuesday, so for all of you all that are panicking, thinking tomorrow's Wednesday, it's not. It's Tuesday. It's the second day of the new week. Tomorrow night, we'll talk about creating our own health agenda and how to get a seat on Black Health Matters.
Yes.
Now more than ever, with our numbers being off the chart, we're talking about Black and brown people. When it comes to our medical care and discussing problems and problems and solutions, when it comes to our health, it's very few of us at the table making these decisions or helping to discuss what the real problem is. And so joining us tomorrow night as our co-host is Danielle Cortez DeVito. As you guys all know, Danielle is very adverse when it comes to the medical field. She's an EMT. She also is trained in a lot of other high-end aspects of medical information and how it all works. And so she'll be here tomorrow night to have an eye-opening conversation with us about making sure we get a seat at the table when it comes to Black health matters. And then also, Miss Kelly Fair will stop by tomorrow. She is the creator of Polished Pebbles. And tomorrow night, we'll talk about how every girl is a CEO. She's written a new book, and we're trying to train our young girls to be bosses. And so tomorrow night, we'll have that conversation about being a boss.
That's a great That's a great combination. Health and a boss of women, because that's we got to turn these people around, get them taking care of themselves so we can have more CEOs out there.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Philip, while we're waiting on our guests, we're having a little technical difficulties. It may be all this weather we're experiencing.
Yeah, the storm is something else.
Oh, I love what Phyllis just said. She says, speaking of LGBTQ, Black Lives Matter is saying all Black lives matter. Oh, absolutely. You would have to. I mean, if not, we'd be in so much trouble if all Black lives didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It's really eye-opening, and I'm very emotional behind the fact that another Black man would have to die for the world to really see how Blacks are truly treated and discriminated against, and just the racism that is a part of the world in which we live in.
If you allow me, I'll just say this. In my life, it's the sad part is as a Black man, that talk, everybody keeps talking about this talk. People imagine that it doesn't take place. I would tell you that mine may not have been as formal, but I definitely had to talk with my mother and my father. The way that society can discriminate against Black men, it opens the door for you to understand a lot more about the Black man. And I think that the mental health piece, when you have lived in a world where, because of the way you look when you walk down the street, and it's all based on color, because you haven't opened your mouth, that people make judgments and you are not allowed access. I mean, do you know how many people of us have probably gone to apply for a job in the old days when you had to go face to face to fill out an application, and people saw that you were a Black male, especially, and the applications would be thrown away. And then we have to look back to why there was so much, there appeared to be so much dysfunction in the Black household, and why so many men were missing. Again, this hopelessness and depression, this is, again, something that we never had a chance to deal with because we weren't having an open conversation about what was really going on as far as what Black males were dealing with out there just every day trying to find a job and keep a job.
Well, now, Philip, that's ironic you would even bring that up, but there were several positions that I ended up getting, and it was only based on the fact that I was a Black man. If you remember the late 80s, early 90s, and affirmative action, my job of, taking to the sky and flying through the atmosphere, that was because the airline had not hired enough Black males, and they had to find Black males that, looked a certain way, that were able to speak a certain way,
right,
and bada boom, bada bing. Also, when I had a high-end retail job, I got the job solely because I was suited and booted every time those people saw me. That I was an American classic, well-groomed and spoke well. I mean, that's amazing to me. But I've said many times before, my grandmother used to always say to me, my maternal grandmother, she would always say, put your good white boy on and go get it. Put your good white boy on and go get it.
Now, that's not how I was going to put it. I wasn't going to put it that way, but yes, that's it.
Philip, but do you remember? You and I, we remember those people telling us that.
Not only do I remember them, just like what you just said, that could describe me too. So you look back on these things and you realize what you had to do to appear to be acceptable. You couldn't be too ethnic. You had to be very careful with who you were with your presentation when you went. And we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, we're going back to the 80s. So you're talking about a time when people did just look at you and basically make a decision on, your choice of words, the things that you wore. Just like you said, you knew if you wanted a high-end retail job, and we know the stores you're talking about, you knew what you had to do when you showed up there. You couldn't look like you were lost. You had to look like you owned it. And for a black person to pull that off,
Yeah.
it was a skill. So when they saw that you could do it, they were glad to have you. But on the other hand, you had the benefit of the wisdom of some elders who knew how to help you put that presentation together. A lot of our young people just don't have that. And affirmative action nowadays, I don't know what that means. I'm hopeful, but a lot of our young people, the way our education system has worked out for them, can't even fill out an application online correctly. So you don't even get a chance to meet that person and have your teeth brushed and you wearing a great new fragrance and you're smiling and profiling. You don't get a chance to do that anymore.
Man, times have changed. At one point we used to be proud of being the first black this, the first black that. I know a young lady right now that was the first black female salesperson at a lot of the high-end boutiques when they opened in Chicago. And the reason why they hired her is that she had an exotic look.
Yes.
She looked as if she could have been a famous celebrity. She had a beautiful smile. I mean, I just, it's now that we're talking about this really does bring back a lot of memories.
Oh, yeah.
Of just my life and how my life has unfolded, because most of the beginning of my life was that I was this effervescent, well-dressed, well-spoken, black dude that knew Chanel from across the room, that knew good.
And
I know Prada in a heartbeat.
But even if you didn't, and see, this is the difference. Even if you didn't know Chanel, you knew how to act like you knew Chanel.
Oh, absolutely.
But you have a whole bunch of us that never had an opportunity to learn what a Chanel, or if it was a Chanel, or if it was a Channel, or what it was.
Right.
Because when I remember, and I have a friend, and this woman has been a manicurist for as long as I've known her. But when that woman walks down Michigan Avenue, and I tell you, and she'll have that fur coat on and about a pair of 10-inch pumps, you would swear wherever she's going, she is ruling something. But her presentation has been what she had, and she made sure that when she turned herself out, you couldn't question it. And as far as the job that she did as a manicurist, extraordinary. So she pulled all those things together to create something that she marketed. It was just like her brand. She marketed it so that she could live on Michigan Avenue, work on Michigan Avenue, and enjoy her life. But again, not many of us really were able to do that. And that's sad.
All right. Well, you're absolutely right. Well, Philip, boy, we got to do a Back Down Memory Lane show one day, because if we really think about the first black pioneers in the city of Chicago, I think about people like Lee Jones and him hair for many years. I think about Sterling Capriccio and him being a fashion designer. I think about just the number of people. We're gonna put that on the list to kind of do a Back Down Chicago memory lane.
Remember, you have to ask yourself what events gave them access to that world. Now that's the show that you ought to. I'll tell you that off but that's the show that you ought to have. Because
all right.
It's amazing what we had to do to get to where we are today. Many of us, we worked hard, and I want to see more of us make it without having to work so hard to get to.
I do too. I really would love to see people who look like me do their dream, do their desire. All I've ever wanted to do is what I do now. And
exactly.
So that's a whole nother show. All right. So listen, our next guest, I found out loves pumps, loves them in 5-inch, 6-inch. Look, I got a head nod in the back about it, and so we're gonna talk to her tonight. She is an award-winning best-selling author. She is a proud member of the LGBTQA community. She's a veteran. She's a former Chicagoan, and I'm going to let her just tell y'all all the other fabulous things that she does. But we're excited to welcome her here tonight in honor of June being Gay Pride Month. She is our first speaker on the subject of just living life and being loved and acceptable in everybody's eyes. That's the key to it. Pretty Boy Blue is the name of her runaway book. Ladies and gentlemen, and we got it right this time, it's Monica M. Pickett. Let's welcome her to the show tonight. Hello, Monica.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey. How are you?
I'm good, darling. How are you?
I heard you talking about Chanel. I was like, bring me on.
Wonderful. It's so good to have you here with us this evening. I know you're a former Chicagoan. You now live out on the East Coast. I want to thank you for your military service and what you've done for our country and serving our country. But you're actually a LGBTQA activist and speaker. And so we are honored to have you here tonight. Introduce yourself to my audience. Tell them a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get down to the nitty-gritty.
Well, thank you so much, Art. And I have to tell you that I am so honored. You are an icon. So like I said in my post, I feel like I have moved up like George and Wheezy, because this is wonderful. And thank you for having me. Basically, I'm a Jersey girl. I was raised in Asbury Park, New Jersey. And I moved to the DC area, the Northern Virginia area, right before high school. And I just realized that I just turned 53, and I was thinking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been out for 40 years. I came out at the age of 13 in the early 80s. And it's interesting because I didn't have any role models. I didn't know any other women. I didn't know other little girls like little girls. So my role models were gay men and fabulous drag queens who taught me, girl, your purse better match those shoes. You know what I mean? So they taught me about courage and resilience, excuse me. And, just, when people would hurt my feelings or say derogatory things, gay men and drag queens taught me to never let them see you sweat. Like, your feelings may be hurt, your heart may be broken, but never allow someone to break your spirit.
Oh,
I love it. I do. I think you're absolutely right about that. And for you to say 40 years in the life, then as I'm sitting here adding up and thinking about it, I guess I could be in that same boat, with you as well, too. But I've always thought that women had a much easier time at being gay and telling people that they're gay than the average man, and definitely not the Black man. So, I'm curious to know, as a woman, what were some of the issues you faced that people put you through?
Well, interestingly enough, when I came out right before high school, the females they bullied me more than the males. I mean, they were awful. And in retrospect, I realized that because I was out and I didn't fit into the stereotypical norms of what they thought a lesbian should look like, I made them nervous about their own sexuality. Because when I graduated from high school, I remember one of my gay male friends, he would call me and say, well, so-and-so thinks she's bisexual, or so-and-so thinks she's gay, and she wants to talk to you. And I was like, this ain't no gay recruitment center. You treated me so mean in high school. You know what I mean? I was like, no. And guess what? The other thing is, I'm not attracted to all women. You're not even my type.
Right. And I think that's what I'm so glad you brought that up, because really, to be honest with you, men have always treated me well. You get what I'm saying? They've always, any guy that has never really liked me or didn't get along with me, I question what was wrong with him. because
Exactly.
it was women who I've always had the biggest issues and problems with, that, were so judgmental or didn't, but when it comes to guys, I have genuinely great friendships with straight men, bi men, gay men. The thing is that I've never had that. Even coming up being younger, a lot of the gangbangers in my neighborhood love me. They didn't hate me. They didn't do anything wrong. They would protect me more than anything. So I'm glad to hear that from you, that that's the situation. Philip, why I wonder, are women so catty when it comes to the gay thing?
Well, I think it's like what your guest said. I think they're questioning themselves. And I think that she presented in a way that they weren't particularly comfortable with, because that meant that there were others that probably presented the same way and they didn't know. And women are always looking through a lens that seems to be more of a mirror, and that can make you a little bit nasty towards other people too, because you're looking for the things that you don't like in yourself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, everybody loving your Georgian Wheezy comment. Thank you, baby. I appreciate it. I do. Monica, before we get to your book, I want to talk more and understand your mom's going to join us as well, too. Is she still going to join us?
Yes, she is. She's my special
Oh, I
guest.
love her. I can't wait to meet your mother. What advice would you want to give to any particular parent, grandparent, anybody that's listening tonight, and their child is, questioning their sexuality? Before you joined us on the show, we were kind of talking about the fact that I know a number of young men that want to live a transgendered lifestyle. Being gay is just not enough for them. They want to be a girl, all out girl. And so what advice would you want to give to my audience tonight about, people who make that decision to want to live an alternative lifestyle?
First and foremost, my recommendation to any parent who may be struggling with their child, questioning or, really not sure of what direction they want to go in terms of their sexuality. But, I would say to first and foremost, love your child unconditionally. That's the most important part as a parent. And when I used to volunteer with a transgender center in Chicago, I specifically volunteered for that program because I thought it was important for parents to see that gays and lesbians, we're just like anyone else. I've always wanted a wife. I always wanted children, grandchildren. I had a job. I have an MBA, and we have hopes and dreams just like everyone else. So if you love your child unconditionally, there's nothing that they cannot achieve. No one else's opinion matters because, unfortunately, my father disowned me for several years when I came out. My mother was in denial. She'll tell you those were her words. But when I tell you, when my grandmother said to me that I don't understand that life, me and your pop don't understand that life, but you love who you love and we will love who you love. And when when I tell you, when my Nana said that, I was like, I don't give a damn who doesn't like me or who. My Nana loves me. My mother loves me. And at that point, I really didn't care. So I think unconditional love is the first recommendation. And then I would strongly recommend that parents reach out to organizations who support transgender youth or whatever their child may be going through, so that they can meet other families and have their child get the support that they need, as well as, and also with their LGBTQ members or mentors rather all over the country. Call someone in like me to, a school or a church. We won't even get into the church yet.
No, you coming back one night. You don't got to return visit. We gonna handle it. Look, you gonna be like, all right, I can't talk about nothing else.
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, to love your child unconditionally, because I know when I decided that I wanted to be a mother, actually, I had a very healthy sense of self-awareness at a very young age, coming out at 13. I was like, listen, I like girls and I don't know how to be any other way. And people would say, well, how did you know you like girls? And if it was, a straight friend, I would say, well, shit. Well, how did you know you like boys? And they would be like,
Right,
oh,
right,
okay, yeah,
right.
you know, I knew, just like you knew, But you have to really look at yourself first. I think that's important. But I had a very healthy sense of self-awareness, and from then on, it was just like, this is who I am, and I can't change. And when you think about what we go through as a community and with our families and the church and religion, if you think about it, who would want to choose this life? Who would choose this?
Right, right. Because really, all of the negativity, all of the abuse, all of the, and it's like, listen, wait a minute. Didn't nobody ask you for all of this? Don't nobody say, you a cigarette smoking, alcohol swilling whore. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
don't nobody
right.
tell straight people that. And so I don't get what the problem is. And what I've learned over a course of time is that my own people are more against me
Exactly.
and what I want to do than any other race of people.
Exactly. But then you have to think about, again, I remember I was doing an interview, and the host said to me, I mentioned the fact that I've always been more spiritual than religious. And she was like, well, oh gosh, the church people gonna come for you. And I said, oh, I wish the church people would come for me. You of all people. Like, I don't have to answer to anyone but God and my mother and my nana. That's all I have to answer to. But like you said, it's like you're judging me. One, that's not of God, the fact that you're judging me. And then you really don't want to talk to me about the Black church, the Catholic church. Don't do it. Don't do it. Right. Because y'all really don't want to have that conversation.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, I'm with you 100% on that. I am. So now let me ask you this. I know your book is a fictional book. And it is on look, I'm just saying now, look, but I do know that you spent time in the military. Your character in the book is based off of a woman that was in the military. It's a lesbian love story. And so can we talk about the book, and then we'll meet your amazing mom, because I got some questions for her as well too. But again, I was told fictional book now, but if you ever feel like you want to share a story, we're here for you.
Oh gosh. Well, it's fictional, but it's loosely based on my life. And sex sells. So I had to make it a little salacious, a little juicy. But my experience in the military was interesting because I served under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. However, I was blessed. My mother and grandmother used to say that God watches over children and fools. And when she would say that, and they would say that when, perhaps they would see a transgender woman, running across the parking lot trying to get home before light, dawn. And I would think, oh God, they only say that about, the gays and lesbians that I would see in the village, in the projects. And I was like, she said, God watches over children and fools. And I was like, well, I think I'm a little children. I think I'm like them.
Right.
So, it was interesting because I never met as many gay people as when I was in the military. Okay. And I was blessed with the fact that when I was an ambulance driver, a medic rather, over in Saudi, when I tell you, I thank God, because my ambulance partner was a gay man, and he was beautiful and he was flaming. And I just felt so at ease because I could be myself, But when it comes to gays and lesbians in the military, I just think that, like, even with the churches, that we are used as pawns, because everybody in the church, you want the gay choir director, you want the catering, the reaching out to the HIV and the AIDS ministry, but you don't value all of me. That's only a small part of who I am. And the same thing with the military. You wanted me to be a soldier, but you didn't want me to be a lesbian soldier. Well, I was a soldier and then I was a lesbian. So you have to think about, we have to have those uncomfortable conversations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm with you 100% on that. I agree. Philip, you want to add anything to this? This is a great conversation. Look, we one thing about this show, I don't run out of time. Go ahead, continue.
She is preaching a sermon, because I think for most people, even when you look at us as African Americans, even if they're going to tell you you have a skill, they'll say, for a Black person, this is great, or something like that. They don't acknowledge the fact that I just happen to be a great person who is Black. There shouldn't have to be a qualifier to say that I'm Black first, and it's so extraordinary because it's not.
Exactly.
It's a lot of hard work. That's what it is.
Exactly. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. You know what I love more than anything is the truth. And I tell people, we've got to come to a realization that the truth is the light and the way for all of us. I don't care who you worship. I don't care what your spiritual high being may be. You've got to come to terms with you. When you meet the maker, you know, how does your life look to you between you and the maker? And so that's why I don't get all the judgmental things. I just tell people, be very careful about who you are and what you're doing. Oh, Monica, look, you got tons of fans. That's the famous Sharon King hanging out with us.
Yes, Miss Sharon.
King. Hey, Sharon King. Yes, absolutely.
So wonderful.
Yes. So in all of your experiences of being a mom, grandmother, veteran, all of that, if you had to live your life all over again, do you regret the lifestyle that you chose, or did it all fall in place just the way you wanted it?
You know, Art, I would do every single thing again because it's made me who I am. It's made me stronger. It's brought me closer to God, because I truly feel that you will become closer to God when you are the most broken. And I heard that from Bishop T.D. Jakes, and I've felt broken a lot of times, and that's when I was closer to God. So I wouldn't change anything because it's made me who I am today.
I love it. I do. Well, I understand. Is Miss Freddie somewhere around there?
Yes, Miss Freddie is here.
Miss Freddie. Hey, Miss Freddie.
He said, "Hey, Miss Freddie."
Hi, Art. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing tonight?
Just wonderful.
Right.
Beautiful. Look, you are just as beautiful as your daughter.
Yes.
And so I want to know, as a mom, what was it like when you first found out your daughter was gay, and how have you dealt with the entire situation?
Well, when she mentioned that she would like to have a wife and children, I remember telling her when she was a little girl, no, you have that all mixed up. You have to have a husband and children. All right. And as time went by, you know, I didn't pay any attention at all. And later on, she said that she brought it to my attention that she was a lesbian and she was gay. I just said, well, you know, she's still young and she doesn't know what she wants to do. And especially when she went into the military, and then when she was pregnant, I said, oh, okay.
You thought
she's going to marry a man.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Right. You just got what you wanted, girl. Right.
I had tricks,
absolutely. And what happened was, you know, it just, as you know, I watched her as years had gone by and everything, and she was beautiful and petite and dressed nice and just high heels and just being so lovely, you know, like the women in our family. And so as it, you know, over the time, a period of time, I just noticed and start paying more attention. And then I said, well, you know what? I love my daughter unconditionally, and all my children. I don't care. If that's who she want to be, and whoever she wants to love, then I'm with it.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's it.
That's it. What advice would you want to give to parents that have children now that are identifying with the LGBTQA community? What would you want to say? Because, you know, as we said, the media is glorifying the lifestyle. Everywhere you turn, people are seeing this. What advice would you really want to give parents? Because you've been down this road with your daughter quite a while now.
Yes. Well, I would say that they need to pay attention to what their children are doing, okay? And listen to what they're saying, most of all. And first of all, then as you watch this, you need to learn more about the homosexual and heterosexual, and find out all the information you need to, because as time goes by, you know, it's going to be a lot of things that you don't know, and you're going to have to find somebody to talk to. So I think that it would be best to just get involved in a lot of groups to allow you to, know what you're going through or what you're going to go through.
I agree 100%. And the thing is that what I love more than anything about the type of shows that I do is that I bring people who love to spread good news, not something negative, not something that people can't walk away from this. I like using real everyday people that share their life stories and how, they've come about things. And here's the beautiful piece. You still have been able to be a grandmother and do all the right things. I still gonna laugh though that your mama said, "What you mean? No, you need a husband." Right. But I make a joke all the time. I tell people that I knew at a young age that I wanted to be a housewife. That I always wanted to be a housewife with a career. And I know that sounded funny, but that's pretty much how I wanted my life to be. I wanted to be a housewife with a career. What you laughing about, Philip?
Oh my goodness. But like I said, it's just you need to be informed of, and open to everything in regards to being a lesbian and whatever else, and that's important to me because you have a lot of young children. They're ridiculed and everything, and they want to commit suicide and and everything like that. So that's really important.
It is. It really is. I think this is really beautiful in many ways. Dr. Philip, you want to add something to this as well, too?
Again, Ms. Freddie just said it. I think, one, the unconditional love, but then two, as you love your children, love yourself, find resources to help you and your child. Right. In a city like Chicago, there's a center. I won't mention the name of it, but you can go there and they will help you, your child, your whole family learn how to learn about each other and love each other, continue loving each other.
I couldn't agree more. I really could not. This has been really great. The feedback has just been wonderful. It has. People are loving this conversation and thinking, and we can continue what else do you most want people to know more than anything? With us not being able to have our Pride celebrations like we normally would because of this pandemic, and every year I'm at Pride, I do a big cookout at Pride, food, and I do it at the end of our parade route to kind of reward everybody with treats and beverages to say thank you. Have you thought about how to celebrate Pride this year in ways that people can celebrate outside of parades and public gatherings?
Art, I think just the fact that we're having this conversation in this capacity, given the current events that are going on, this is, you have to find new ways to reimagine things. And I think this is one of the ways that we're still able to give back. And I just think, that it's important that young people, even older people who are struggling with their sexuality, they see you as mentors. They see the doctor as a mentor. They see me as a mentor. They don't have to wonder if I'm in the closet or, is she that way? No, this is who I am. I am a black woman. I'm a lesbian. I've gone through challenges, but I'm still here. And I didn't have that. I didn't have a me when I was younger. So I think this is important that our visibility is available.
You know what I love more than anything is I love to change the dynamic of the stereotype. Most people don't think that the average Black gay, has multiple degrees, is able to, travel the world, do things that you just would not believe. And for so long, people just thought that, gays were swashbuckling and cut ups and act a fool. And, and the funniest thing is the older I get, I tell people I'm a conservative gay. I'm not a liberal like that. It's certain things that I clutch my pearls and I have to ask questions. And, as you progress in life, the person that you were is not the person you are today,
Exactly. And thank God for growth, honey. Lord have mercy.
Say it again, baby. Thank God.
Thank God for growth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything else you want to share with this amazing audience? You have done so much. Oh, we need to talk about Nikki Blue's character. Let's talk about that character a little bit.
Well, it's interesting. I get the question a lot. How did I come up with the title? And when I decided to write the book, most people don't know that I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis in 2011. And as a result, it became neurosarcoidosis. So it spread to my brain. And as a result, I had a stroke and I had to learn how to walk again. And so being in Chicago in the wintertime and having to learn how to walk again, there was such a sense of urgency to recreate myself, because I was like, I was married at the time, and I was like, I can't be a disabled housewife with an MBA. I have to recreate myself. And so I started journaling and I started writing the book, and I wanted to find out if there was a market for it. And so most people, again, don't realize that I published it and I was able to finance it with a GoFundMe campaign. And I didn't feel comfortable asking people to donate, and I didn't give them anything in return. And so whenever someone made a donation, whether it was $5 or $250, I gave them a chapter of the most salacious and juiciest chapter in the book. And people started pre-ordering the book. And so this character, when you think about the title, even the title, Pretty Boy Blue, in the book, I talk about assumptions. So Pretty Boy Blue, the pretty represents, when I first came out, people would say, but you're too pretty to be that way. And I didn't understand that. And so the boy comes in because, again, I talk about assumptions. You can't judge a book by its cover. I know I present as a very feminine woman, but I told my mother I was one chromosome from being her second son. So I'm really a pretty boy. And then don't make me laugh. The word blue represents the sadness that I felt when the kids bullied me in high school. So thus the title, Pretty Boy Blue. And the character is just very, this is a story, a coming of age story based on courage and resilience. And she just refuses to give up. Society said that she couldn't be a lesbian and a mother, and she was just willing to prove everyone wrong. And so even though it's fiction, it's loosely based on my life, I have everything that everyone said I couldn't have.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. You're absolutely right. You have been a wonderful guest tonight. A lot of what you said, I think men and women both go through that. The whole identity thing and what you really want in life and all of that, that's amazing. And I put it to you like this: you're a good looking boy if that's what you're trying to do. You're fine looking young man if that's what you're trying to do. No, not at all.
It's so crazy.
I love you all. I do. Miss Freddie, look, when this pandemic is over and you all can travel to Chicago, I'm taking Miss Freddie out to eat.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. But right. One thing, she is known for her fried chicken. So you may want to come over to my son and daughter-in-law's house. She's known for her fried chicken.
That's what I was told also. That's why I was buttering her up with dinner.
You don't have to butter me up.
Look, the people I put on here that she can cook her behind off. Look, I come from old school family, so I just felt like, look, I'd invite your mama to dinner if she ever came to Chicago. Notice I ain't say you. I said your mama. And I'm still coming for some of her fried chicken. Really.
And Art, you just tell me what time to pick you up and I'll take you over there.
As soon as this Rona is over,
yes,
some chicken because I'm sick of Rona.
Yeah.
Fry fish too.
Oh yeah. Collard greens and everything.
Oh my goodness.
Lord,
she's a beast. She is a beast.
Well, your Chicago relatives, we coming to visit.
Right.
Okay.
Do me a favor, tell everybody how they can get your book, all that great stuff. You've done a wonderful job tonight.
Thank you so much, Art. It has been, like I said, you are royalty. It has been an honor. They can find the book on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. I just found out that the sequel is also available at Walmart. You can order it there. And you can also go to my website, www.monicappickett.com. And also Twitter and Facebook. You can go to my website and send me a message, and I can send them out to you and personally sign them.
Oh, right.
Well, you actually have won the golden ticket to come back and hang out with me, because you mentioned a couple of things that we need to talk about. We are huge on health disparities, and sarcoidosis is, something that I am very much about talking about. Our late great Bernie Mac, quite a few other people. So yes, you'll be back for that. And then my brain is steady figuring out a couple of other topics you're going to come back and talk to me about as well.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Art. I appreciate it.
Yes, you've done an outstanding job. Everybody is loving it. Great feedback. Give us the website and information one more time.
www.monicampickett.com, or you can find me on Facebook at Monica Pickett, and you can find me on Instagram at Pretty Monica Pickett.
Pretty Mama Monica Pickett. Mama.
Yes.
I love you, darling. Stay beautiful. Thank you for that advice tonight. I love you so much. Ladies, quite a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Art. Thank you.
Absolutely. Dr. Montgomery,
Anytime.
Thank our guests, huh?
I enjoyed them. I really did. And
Thank you so much. We enjoyed you.
Looking forward to that chicken.
That's all right. I'm going to do it.
All right.
Look, I come with hot sauce in my bag.
Okay, good. I promise.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I love you, ladies. God bless you. Thank you so much. And thank you for celebrating Pride with us. Thank you.
Happy Pride.
All right. Thank you. Boy, that was great. That was excellent. That was
really
good. We love them. That was wonderful. Mama and daughter duo. Oh, everybody is loving this. They said, thank you, Chat Daddy. Great conversation.
Amazing.
Thank you guys so much. All right, brother. In closing, what do you want to say tonight so we can get on up out of here?
I want to say exactly what Freddie said. Miss Freddie said, love your children unconditionally, because you are the first line of communication. And if you don't give them the information they need, they'll seek it elsewhere. So you gave birth to them with love. Continue loving them and make sure you are the ears that are there for them.
That's right. I couldn't agree with you more, Philip. We live in a world now where there's so much hatred. Just being black is an issue and a problem.
That's two shows.
Yeah, let's add gay on that. Let's add, LGBTQA, any of that on there. There are now people who consider themselves asexual, and that's what the A is there for. That they're questioning their sexuality. So that's a whole nother show. On Thursday night, we have a young lady who lives a bisexual lifestyle that's going to be joining us on the show to talk about that. So, every night this week, we're celebrating all things Pride. And if you are on board, you on board. If not, you can watch something else. That's all I can say.
I'll keep my notepad out because I have
keep your notepad out, Doc. We may need you again, Doc. We may need you.
Anytime. Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, do me a huge favor. Go over to The Real Chat Daddy Show on YouTube. Please subscribe to that page. I need you guys to subscribe. It helps me out. Also, the show is on Facebook at The Real Chat Daddy Show on Facebook. Please go there and do the same thing, too. My website is therealchatdaddy.com, therealchatdaddy.com. You can go there for information about myself and everything about the show. On behalf of my co-host this evening, the wonderful Mr. Philip Montgomery, Miss Monica P. Pickens did a great job. She did a wonderful job. Her book is Pretty Boy Blue on Amazon. Make sure you guys get it. Thank you guys so much for being here. Tomorrow night we'll have another great show for your viewing and listening pleasure. I love you guys. Stay safe, stay strong, wear your mask, wash your hands, and let's keep COVID down to a minimum. It's summertime. Time for us to get out and enjoy ourselves. All right. God bless you guys. Have a great night. Thank you. Bye. See you tomorrow.